I'm Heidi Hewitt, AutoCAD Technical Marketing Manager at Autodesk, and I'm here with Guillermo Melantoni, Senior Product Manager for User Interaction and Interoperability at Autodesk. Guillermo, can you describe for our viewers what is meant by explicit surfaces in AutoCAD 2011?
Yeah, absolutely. We thought about this concept of explicit surfaces because AutoCAD 2011 has a bit two different ways to create surfaces or to define the surface. One is what we call the nerve surface, which we may talk about that later. And the explicit surface is basically a surface that remembers its method of creation, right? At the very end, the surface is always defined by a grid of U's and V's, that's what we call it, right? But when we add that concept of explicit surface, what we have is some kind of wrapper that makes the surface understand and remember what it is. For example, if I was doing an extrusion, for example, the two basic parameters in an extrusion will be the height of extrusion and the taper angle. So once you create that surface based on an extrusion, you finish the surface, you do something else, you go back to the surface and you click on the surface, you are not going to get a nerve surface. You're going to get an extrusion which still lets you change the height or change the taper angle. And that is very, very powerful because if the surface, I mean the method of creation of the surface is still valid, right, and you still want to work or change things based on that, you don't need to go to any of the nerves editing methods, which are also very powerful, but in this case, it's much better because you still have those properties that can be very useful for you. So that is why we make that difference between the explicit surface and the nerve surface. So make sure you try them because they are very, very powerful.
This is one of those kind of key things for conceptual design because you're able to modify those properties.
Because you never know what you're going to end up doing. I mean, conceptual design is about exploration. So probably your first shape is never going to be the exact shape that you want. So you really want to tweak a little bit the spline so the revolution, for example, gets a little thinner somewhere, or the height has to be a little bigger, or whatever, right? But then that whatever factor, which is what people try to do in conceptual design, is absolutely critical and relevant. So you don't have to undo and start again many times, which is absolutely frustrating. And at the end of the day, what that causes is you not wanting to explore more and pretty much accept whatever you did at the beginning just because it takes too much time to keep exploring. And we want you guys to enjoy modeling and be able to engage in all its power without just getting frustrated and leaving and using the first thing you find.
So be able to focus on the design and not the software.
Absolutely.
All right.
It's just a tool.
Great, just wonderful introduction there to explicit surfaces, and we'll talk more about surfaces in general.
I think we will.
Okay, thanks, Guillermo.